You know who always has, though, had very strong political instincts?
Who?
The former president of the United States. And we're going to show you exactly why from this clip that just came yesterday as well. There's a reason why Donald Trump became the president once before and is incredibly, unconscionably, unbelievably tracking to be the president of the United States again, and will be the second president in U.S. history to have 2 non-consecutive terms. I'm sure he's looking forward to that. Here we go.
Mr. President, I want to give voters who are going to be weighing in on this election a very clear sense of where you stand on this.
I think they're all going to like me. I think both sides are going to like me.
What's going
to have to happen is you're going to have to listen. You're asking me a question. What's going to happen is you're going to come up with a number of weeks or months. You're going to come up with a number that's going to make people happy, because 92% of the Democrats don't want to see abortion after a certain period of time.
If a federal ban landed on your desk, if you were reelected, would you sign it at 15
weeks? Are you talking about a complete ban?
A ban at 15 weeks.
Well, people are starting to think of 15 weeks. That seems to be a number that people are talking about right now.
Would you sign that?
I would sit down with both sides and I'd negotiate something, and we'll end up with peace on that issue for the first time in 52 years. I'm not going to say I would or I wouldn't. I mean, DeSantis is willing to sign a 5-week and 6-week ban.
Would you support that? You think that
I think what he did is a terrible thing and a terrible mistake.
DeSantis. I love how he abbreviated DeSanctimonious to DeSanctis. It's really good.
Well, that's because he's a totally DeSanctimonious moron, and he doesn't deserve any respect. Do you see what he did for me, though? He was really good. I'll give DeSanctimonious credit for this. For one thing, he passed the 6-week abortion ban here in the state of Florida, and all of the Florida GOP came over to me. They recognized I'm the more sensible candidate. I'm totally moderate, and I think ladies have the right to choose.
I wish you would just say that, though.
I totally
See, that's
did.
the thing. No.
But I totally did. You
No.
know what I said in the interview?
No, you said you wouldn't say whether you would or wouldn't sign it, which I do. Okay, fine. But you have never, if you would just come out as flat out pro-choice and just own that, it would be huge.
I have totally come out
I'm just
in
saying,
favor of a what?
Bigly good.
Bigly, believe me, don't choose my words, those are my words. Remember, if we're going to make America great again, it is up to me and not you to use my catchphrases. So important that everyone listen and understand what's important here. I believe in a woman's right to choose. So if you want to choose to abort, do what you got to do.
This is about as good as our Bernie endorsement of Cornel West.
Well, then you totally get to keep it, and you should keep it. It's in the eyes of God. That's what they told me to say. But believe me when I tell you, we're never going to win on this issue. This is an issue for the ladies. The guys need to stay out of it. That's why I'm staying out of it. I gave the law back to the states. That's what it should be. And you see what's happening with the states. It's doing really great.
Right. And if any I believe that old school Republicans and people that I would consider to be somewhat functional, normal people, actually, I understand that they think it should be a state issue, and I'm fine with that. Stand with that. Go with that. Stop trying to initiate federal things when you just argued that it should be a state issue. That's what's really infuriating. The same people that just said, oh, we got to overturn Roe v. Wade, it needs to be an issue for the states, are the same people pushing a federal ban. How does that keep it be a state issue?
Believe me, when I'm trying to win the presidency, I got to keep those crazy evangelicals. Listen, this is why evangelical Pence could not be anywhere near me. His total lack of understanding about how to engage women, talk to women. He calls his own wife mommy. That's a really weird guy, totally strange guy. And as I said, I love the ladies. They're great people. They deserve to do what they need to do with their bodies. Lord knows I've done quite a few things with a lot of different women's bodies. I appreciate their ability to do what they choose to do. So with that said, I am supporting a woman's right to choose. That is what's coming. And if you support me, we're going to make sure that all of the states have the option to protect a woman's right to choose. That was the goal all along.
Yeah,
and even you, Attorney Perlman, have said many a times before that Roe v. Wade was not a good written law.
Well, it was always very tenuous. I knew that it was only a matter of time before it could be and was overturned.
Correct.
It
and
wasn't
that's it.
well written.
I was simply leading the precedent. I did what I needed to do. And you see what's happened? Look at all the states that are codifying it into law. even super red states. They're codifying it into law. They're doing the right thing. We're giving the states the power they deserve, and they are making it law. For the states that are not allowing the people the right to choose, I'll take care of that when I get back into the White House. Goodbye.
Yeah, that's what he would do. That's what he's going to do. He's going to get right on that.
Well,
he's going to get right on my bodily autonomy.
I just think that he understands politics, and he's not even a politician.
No, he's a salesman.
He's a
snake oil salesman. But he just reads where the winds are going. I actually don't believe he has a philosophical ethos at all.
Friend of the show, Metalopoly, with his opinion about where women get an abortion. Could you explain about could you just, for the conservative men, and it's always conservative men, could you just explain what late-term abortion really means?
Okay, so first of all, there's a big difference between 5, 6, 7. That's, your
second semester versus third I said
you're in second and third there. But here's the thing, okay? No woman chooses to have a late-term abortion. That's not a thing. In fact, there are only, and up until, I don't even know, not that long ago, there were only like 2 places in the country that even perform third trimester abortions that I like the right wing to label partial birth. No, they're not. No woman chooses that. No woman walks around carrying a baby for that long and then decides, I think I don't want to do this anymore. Nobody does that. The only time that those happen are for medical purposes. And the thing about those medical purposes that they all have in common is they fall under the category of none of your damn business. But the idea to think that women choose that is absurd. First of all, most gynecologists, OB-GYNs, they don't perform that. That's not, it is so rarely done that most of them don't do that. It's so rare. But you will find people will latch on to some story that's some urban legend and go with that as a talking point. You know, it's not a talking point is that we have women that are going to be dying from things in this state, like off the charts, like ectopic pregnancies and sepsis. That's what we have. Because people think that they get a say-so. You don't get a say-so. And I don't care. You pay. First of all, federal funds are not used for abortions. They have never been used for abortions. That has always been the law. That goes back to when the funds were first allocated for even helping for any reproductive education. And I know this because I used to volunteer for Planned Parenthood. Okay. And by the way, Planned Parenthood, of their services they provide, 3%. 3% is abortion, and federal funds never paid for that. So you don't get to say, and that's just not how this works.
And here we go. And here we go again with the whole baby murder. It's like, dude, you got to stay the hell out of this.
It's not a baby. It's a fetus.
It's like, come on, man.
And it's honestly, if you want to talk about something that's living on my person, we could get into where I talk about bacteria, virus, and fungus, which somehow you're okay with me killing those living organisms that are feeding off of me. But the bottom line is what I know is you shouldn't even know when a woman is pregnant unless it's your baby. So if you happen to find out what she does or doesn't do with it is still, again, in the category of just none of your business.
Seriously, dude. This whole forced birth.
Mind your business.
This whole forced birth thing is just crazy.
No woman chooses to have a third trimester abortion. That's not a thing. God, that's so infuriating.
Yeah, well.
It really is infuriating. And by the way, 15 weeks is still too early because you cannot have an amnio until well after, I think it's somewhere between, you have to do it between 16 and 20. When I say I was at 17 weeks with Graham. And so that means that there's no point to doing any sort of procedures wherein we're preparing for what we're dealing with here. You're basically limiting my medical procedure options just by doing a 15-week ban. It's, first of all, you should not know how far along I am, because again, none of your business.
Again, there are many reasons why a baby, there's many reasons why a baby, a fetus, whatever, again, there could be so many circumstances.
Fetus.
When it comes to health, when it comes to when it comes to rape, incest, molestation, there's so many.
And the fact that, you can have it at 15 weeks in Florida. By the way, we're under our 6-week ban. You can, women, we're fortunate enough that we have the exception that if it's by rape or incest, we have up to 15 weeks if we show documentation.
And it's not a surprise that any of the commentary in the chat, once again, is from men only. Only men have an opinion that involves them controlling the way. I'm telling you guys, and this is why, the only thing that is preventing the Republican Party from, listen, both parties are falling apart.
I just don't think you realize how much you're angering it. I just don't think you realize where women are at.
But this is why Trump is smarter than the average bear, because he knows, he's not stupid. He knows that the trans issue is a winning issue for his side, and he knows the abortion issue is a losing issue for his side.
It is a loser.
And you even have people on social media, if you poke around, who are, let's say, Team DeSantis or whatever, that are saying, well, my goal is not to win. My goal is to be morally right. And that is where it becomes, okay, you know what? It's the same thing when it comes to people who are, let's say, in left politics and don't recognize that the only way you're going to win left issues is through labor. There is no other way. And in labor, you are going to have to break bread with people that don't agree with all of your social issues. And if you can't accept that, then you can be morally right and keep losing, because that's what's going to ultimately happen when it comes to the issue of abortion.
Oh, I know, Metalopoly. I know there's a lot of pro-life women. They disgust me on a whole other level. But statistically speaking, it's more, it's like, I forget what the percent, but there are not as many women that are anti-choice as there are men. And quite honestly, that enrages me just as much. It really does. It's a fine line for me. I feel like both are enraging for different reasons, and I do not call it pro-life. They're not pro-life. They're anti-choice.
And that's the kicker, right?
That is the whole point.
That is the whole point. Are there exceptions? Of course, but the overwhelming super majority, this is a religious-based issue.
It is. And it's just, but the point is this is a medical issue. It's a medical issue. Why do people that are so all the time screaming about getting government and small government, but they want the government legislating our medical procedures? That's crazy to me.
And it's also because, to me, it really, I think in a lot of ways just comes down to the ignorance of certain people when it comes to certain issues, but not recognizing that it cannot be more clear. We need to have a separation of church and state in this country. We must, because it's breaking this country apart. And the people who are religious to a fault are allowing this to basically become a key issue. It's no different than when you complain, rightfully so, about George Soros and what he does for the Democratic Party. The same is true for the uber billionaires like that psychopath in Illinois who was funding tens of millions of dollars for his pro-life. And of course, it's always an old guy with a lot of money.
And he's funding it in another state.
Funding it in Ohio. And the Ohioans were still smart enough with over a 2/3 majority, a super majority, to tell him to get effed.
Thanks for watching. If you want to support our mission to transform politics into service, please like this video, subscribe, follow us on social media, and consider joining our Patreon, where you'll get early access to our interviews as well as other exclusive content. Links are in the description. Peace out.